Hello, I'm Nicholas with the City of Richmond, and today we're celebrating Fix a Leak Week with Richmond Public Utilities, and we're going to be teaching you a couple things about, one, your toilet set, and two, how to detect and find and sort of see what kind of indicates you might have a leak on property, or you might have a leak on the meter set. Alright, so one of the main things you're going to want to do is locate your water meter, which might be in the front of your property or behind your property, depending on where you live and in the city. Once you do locate your water meter, first things you're going to do, normally it's probably closed, you just flip this up right here. In case the dial's a little dirty, you might want to grab a rag and wipe it a little bit. What you're going to be looking for is either, depending on which meter, it's either going to be a small red dial or a small blue dial like this. What you're going to want to make sure is, A, you don't have any running appliances, no one taking a shower, not washing clothes or doing dishes, and then you're going to want to come out and locate this water meter. If the blue dial, the red dial is showing that it's constantly spinning, as you can see right now, that's going to indicate you're going to have a leak somewhere on property, which might be a leaking toilet, leaking faucet, potential leak in the crawl space, or even a leak from going from the meter to your house. What you would want to do from there is we have a couple different steps that I'm going to show you in just a moment on how to potentially locate one. So there's a couple things that you want to look for around your home. Say if it's not your toilet that's causing what you would look at your meter and see that was causing registration. You're going to want to look for your tubs and showers, seeing if you're getting constant leaks there. You're going to want to check your kitchen faucets and the piping underneath in your kitchen sink, whether it's an angle stop, the supply lines that's feeding the sink, could be an outside dripping hose faucet, or if you have a crawl space, you probably want to check your crawl space. I'd recommend at least checking once a month just to make sure there's nothing going on there, make sure it's not a water leak or you got a leak on your drain lines or any other kind of maintenance that might be potentially needed around your home. The most common source of water leaks that we normally find, or at least I find as a field technician, is normally on people's toilets, which some people think a toilet can't drive up your water bill as insane as it thinks. But say if it's running constantly, that could be putting out to up to 12 to 1,500 gallons a day if it's just constantly going. Now, if it's just running intermittently, it all just depends on how intermittent it could be going. It could be from 10 gallons a day to like 200 gallons a day. But if it's constantly running, you have a massive problem. And now we're going to be showing you a couple different things of what you might want to look for if in the event you do have a running toilet or you just want to check. So there's obviously this diagram that we have of a toilet tank. So there's a couple different things that you're initially going to want to look at, and the first thing I always like to look at is going to be your flapper right here. There's a couple different issues that might be caused with it. Either A, it might be starting to corrode out, it might be deteriorating, or there might just be some possible debris stuck between the flapper and the fill valve itself. They're pretty easy to replace. I'll get into that in just a moment. The next thing you would want to look at is going to be your fill valve. Now, with this, you might get some debris in it from the water lines or old water lines build up, and that can cause the fill valve to be stuck in its filling position where it just constantly runs, kind of makes that little hissing noise. And then obviously you might have your chain that might be too tight, too loose, where it's not in its flushing position correctly. So flappers are pretty easy to replace. They're pretty self-explanatory. The first thing you would want to do is to disconnect the chain from the handle, which that's pretty easy. Normally it's just a little clip. And basically you just fold the rubber ears up just a little bit. Old ones out. Pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty easy. Let me adjust this chain before I try to hook it up. And to put the new one on, you want the bowl side facing down. You just fold the ears back over the way you took the old one off. Same fitting. And then you just hook the chain back up. You might have to adjust the chain as needed. You don't want it too tight, you don't want it too loose. And normally, it comes up. Now, I should have kind of got into this a little earlier. There are these little die packs that they do sell at Lowe's, Home Depot. Basically, you want to pull open one of these. They normally look like a little blue tablet. As such, you're going to want to put this in your toilet tank, let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes. Once that happens, you want to come back and inspect the bowl of your toilet, and if you start seeing blue water in the bowl part, that lets you know you have a water leak somewhere in your toilet. And that's where you would kind of go back and look at your flapper, look at your fill valve, because it might just be overfilling and coming down what's called the dip tube, or the overflow. That's really about what you would really be looking for to possibly see what's driving up your water bill.